everyone. Welcome to First Kids, a New Year's Eve program brought to you by First Night St Pete, sponsored by the city of St. Petersburg and the wonderful people at Duke Energy. Tonight, we're going to make several art projects, listen to stories and music, dance, and much more. So get your supplies together, and we'll be back shortly to ring in the new year with creativity, arts, and culture. Welcome to First Kids, a New Year's Eve program brought to you by First Night St Pete, sponsored by the city of St. Petersburg and the wonderful people at Duke Energy. Let's start the show with a first night tradition, making hats from paper bags.
everyone. Good evening and welcome to St. Pete First Night celebration. My name is Ellie.
And I'm Cassidy.
And we were so excited to ring in 2021 with you that we wanted to share some of our favorite science experiments with you tonight. So please take out your materials if you will be joining us for our experiment this evening, and get ready for some fun. All right, our first experiment here, we'll be creating our very own lava lamp. For your materials, we will be needing one glass container. It can be clear, it can be plastic, anything you like. We'll need some just regular water. And finally, we'll need our vegetable oil and Alka-Seltzer tablets.
And don't forget some food dye to make it extra cool.
That's right. All right, now, first things first, we are going to fill our clear container with water about 1/4 of the way full. Thank you, Cassidy. Wonderful. Next, I want you to please put in your food dye if you have it with you. We have green to celebrate today. You'll want to add about 3 or 4 drops to make it really colorful and fun. And then I want you to please grab your vegetable oil and fill it up another up to 3/4 of the way. What do you think is going to happen? Usually things mix, right? That's looking pretty cool. Now, take a look at this. Swirl it around a little bit if you need to. It doesn't seem to be mixing like it should, right? Well, that's because oil is one of the very few things that water cannot break down. That's why it's a huge problem if there's oil spills in the ocean, because the water can't take care of it on its own. And that's really harmful for birds, for mammals, for fish, because oil sits right on the top of the water. But it makes for a cool experiment here. So we have our water, we have our oil, we have our food coloring. The final touch, if you have a flashlight on hand, grab your flashlight and then drop 1 Alka-Seltzer tablet right into your mixture. Let's see what happens. Looks like it's dissolving a little bit. Wow, check that out. And for extra fun, grab your flashlight and shine it right under your container. You got your very own lava lamp. How about that? Neat. Perfect. Now, what is happening here? You see, Alka-Seltzer, it has 2 main chemicals in it. There is sodium bicarbonate and citric acid. When these 2 come into contact with water, it releases bubbles into the water. That's called carbon dioxide, which is exactly the same thing that we breathe out as humans and every other animal as well. So what we're seeing here is a reaction right inside that makes bubbles and your very own lava lamp. Cool, right? Thank you so much, Cassidy. Thanks for participating in that first experiment with us. But don't get tired yet. We got 2 more experiments to go. Next here is Cassidy with our second experiment.
Our second experiment is called film canister rockets. So what you'll need for this one is an empty film canister, some plain old water, and again, some Alka-Seltzer, like we used in our other experiment. So the first thing you're gonna want to do is break one of your Alka-Seltzer tablets in half. And you also want to make sure you can close your film canisters really tightly for this experiment to work. So the first thing you're gonna want to do is fill your canister with a little bit of water, about 1 tablespoon. Ellie's going to use 2 of these pipettes, and that should be about right. Now for the next step, you want to move pretty quick. You're going to put your tablet in your canister and close the lid really quick and then flip it over and set it on the table. Once she does that, we're going to start our countdown, okay? Because it's hopefully going to blast off like a rocket. Are you guys ready? All right, drop it in. We'll start the countdown in 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Wow! Good one! They went off a little early, but that's okay. Sometimes that happens in science. So the reason that worked is kind of the same way as in our other experiment, is we had the Alka-Seltzer creating carbon dioxide in the water, and that made a lot of bubbles, which made a lot of pressure in our little film canister. And the cool thing is that's basically how real rockets work except that they use rocket fuel instead of water and Alka-Seltzer, and all the pressure builds up and it launches the rocket. It's pretty neat. So,
super neat.
if you have time and you want to do it more, you can do this as many times as you like. We're going to get ready to move on to our third experiment.
For our third experiment, we will be doing the stupendous, spectacular, spontaneous Coke and Mentos experiment. Now, for this, you will need 1 2-liter bottle of Diet Coke, ideally room temperature. You will need 1 piece of paper and 1 full packet of Mentos. So for this, I want you to make sure you are in a place that you don't mind getting soda everywhere, whether it be outside, wherever you can find a place. So the idea here is we have our Coke, we're dropping the Mentos in, and you want to drop them in all at the same time. Cassidy, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, first things first, unscrew your Diet Coke, and with your piece of paper, open 1 Mentos packet. So the whole thing falls out on the piece of paper. You will see a geyser, a fountain beyond your comprehension. It will be amazing. And we're going to talk about the reaction that happens here. There's some debate about it, and you will see why. But get ready for the finale of our New Year's celebration evening. All right, Cassidy.
Don't want to be a litter bug. Okay.
Now, remember, as soon as you dump these Mentos in, take cover. Ready?
Ready.
Set, go. Yes! Fabulous. Now, let's talk about what happened here. How cool is that? So, there is some debate about what happens. Opposed to our chemical reactions we did in previous experiments, many people believe this was a physical reaction. With all those Mentos going into the soda, you all know how fizzy and bubbly soda pop is. With all the Mentos being poured right into it, people think it pushes all the bubbles right out to create that fountain you just saw. What do you think? And that wraps it up for our experiments tonight.
Thank you so much for celebrating the New Year with us. And thank you for joining us for First Night, First Kids celebration. This is Cassidy and Ellie from Great Explorations signing out. We'll see you next year.
I never cared much for moonlit skies. I never winked back at fireflies. But now that the stars are in your eyes, I'm beginning to see the light. Oh, I never went in for afterglow or candlelight on the mistletoe. But now when you turn the lamp down low, I'm beginning to see the light. Used to ramble through the park, shadow boxing in the dark. Then you came and caused a spark. That's a 4-alarm fire now. I never made love by lantern shine. I never saw rainbows in my wine. But now that your lips are burning mine, I'm beginning to see the light. beginning to see that light. Oh yes, how I dig that crazy light. Dig, 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 dig that crazy light. I'm beginning to see the light. I saw the light, that light in your eyes. I saw the light.
I am Donald Lowell Atkinson.
And I'm Caroline Wetstein Atkinson, his daughter.
Why do I think that people should buy buttons this year? Well, because the buttons every year are a reflection of our local artistry, our local artists. It's great to honor and support those local artists through buying the buttons. It supports the organization as well, obviously.
My answer is a little bit more fun because I remember with these ones would light up and I felt really cool when I would wear them.
Okay, we're ready.
Wait, but our buttons aren't showing. Okay, now go.
Hi, I'm Becca. Let's read together. Now first, we're going to do our hand washing song. We're gonna wash our hands till they're nice and clean. Soap and water is all we need. We're gonna wash our hands till they're nice and clean. Over and under and in between. Now rinse away and say hooray. Sloths Don't Run by Tori McGee. Illustrated by Roxlana Panchishin. Somewhere in the rainforest, high up in a tree, there lives a pleasant sloth named Hank and a clever moth named Dee. They live their lives quite leisurely, sleeping lots and moving slow. They climb down from their tall tree home once every week or so. Hank's always been quite happy with his laid-back style of living, but lately he's been thinking that there might be something missing. While moving slow and sleeping is how most sloths spend their days, recently Hank asked himself, could I maybe change my ways? You see, Hank knows that sloths aren't the most athletic creatures. He wonders, though, could I go fast with training and some sneakers? One day, while hanging in the tree, Hank makes a big decision. He's nervous of what Dee might think, but decides to share his vision. All day I watch the jaguars as they run from place to place. This year, I'd like to join them for the Great Rainforest Race. Dee isn't sure of Hank's grand plan. She says it's a no-go. Hank, it's not a good idea. Sloths don't run. Didn't you know? Sure, jaguars are natural athletes, and they seem to move with ease. But with practice I can do it, Hank claims. Come with me, Dee, won't you please? Hank climbs down slowly from his tree, gripping tightly with his claws. Then he laces up all 4 sneakers, 1 shoe for each of his paws. Dee isn't sure about Hank's plan, but now what can she say? She decides that she'll support her friend each step along the way. And so begins Hank's training for his big rainforest run. But unlike the sporty jaguars, Hank isn't having any fun. This running stuff is such hard work. I'm tired, Hank says to Dee. I think I'll jog just a bit more, then we'll head back to the tree. Each day, Hank and Dee come down to practice for the race. Eventually, Hank finds the joy along with his happy pace. It's here! It's here! Today's the day! The great rainforest race! The animals toe the starting line. Hank and Dee each take their place. The toucan shouts, "Ready, set, go!" And the animals take off fast. Hank and Dee start slowly. Other racers run right past. The jaguars take off in a hurry. The monkeys aren't far behind. As the animals come racing by, only finishing is on Hank's mind. Hank knows his slow and steady pace will get them to the line, so they press on toward the finish, taking one step at a time. Midway, they fall into last place. They're on the course alone, but that doesn't matter much to them. They're in a race of their own. They inch their way toward the finish, slow and steady as they've been, and in the end, they're greeted with their very own kind of win. You see, they didn't finish first. In fact, they took last place. But they learned an important lesson, more important than any race. Hank learned a lesson in courage, that it comes straight from the heart. And Dee learned that sometimes winning is having the courage to start. Later, they returned up high to a life of leisure in their tree. On nice days, they still go jogging, just Hank and his pal Dee. The end. Isn't that such a sweet story of two friends? And Hank teaches us a really, really great lesson, and it's so important even for the grown-ups in your life to remember that being brave is not just for superheroes. Being brave is you anytime you try something new, anytime you finish something that was hard and you didn't give up. So there's a lot of different ways that you can be courageous, which is a fancy word for brave. What's one way that you've been brave? So this is my dad, Joe, and he is a musician. He plays the guitar and he writes songs, and both of us loved this book so much that he wrote an original song all about Sloth's story called Sloths Don't Run. Enjoy!
Sloths don't run, but jaguars do, so it's not much of a race. Sloth knew he'd get to the finish line if he kept a slow and steady pace. Sloth inched his way to the finish line, just going slow and steady as he'd been. And in the end he gets greeted with his very own kind of win. Sloths don't run, but jaguars do, so it's not much of a race. Sloth knew he'd get to the finish line if he kept a slow and steady pace. The sloth learned a lesson in courage, and it comes straight from the heart. He learned that sometimes winning is having the courage to start. And he learned that sometimes winning is having the courage to start.
One of the great things about reading is that it opens up your imagination. And another thing you can do with an open imagination is to draw. So this is my friend Justin, and he's an artist, and he's going to show us how to draw.
Hello. Oh, hello. Today we're going to draw a turtle. Hello. All the animals have big eyes. Whoa. And it has the teeth. Oh yeah, look at that. And this one has its tongue sticking out because it's a fast turtle. Just kidding, it's a slow turtle. He thinks he's fast. Turtle don't know. Oh, I'm using a brush pen. You have to be very careful with it because if you go over, you'll get ink everywhere. Here's a classic turtle. You may have seen his shell in such video games as Mario Kart, etc., etc. Oh, Nelly, I wish I had a video game right now. Too bad I can only draw. Alright, so I don't know what kind. No, we'll make this a real turtle. Yeah, that we'll give him a nice little octagon. Oh, let's add his feet real quick, because you know he's like. The turtles have tails? I think so. I've seen a turtle with a tail, not gonna lie. So that's good. That's good to go. And we're just going to do octagons, kind of like on a soccer ball. And it's kind of like that S you draw in art school eventually. And no, it isn't, but it still works out that way. Just got to remember the shape. And, well, we're just going to give him tiles. How about that? Yeah, like little tiles like that. And that. Let's give him a party hat. And that's a fast turtle with a party hat.
Hi, everybody, and Happy New Year. It's Ann Kelly from the Dove. And for the first time in 28 years, wow, St. Petersburg is having their first night virtually. How many years have I been at First Night? Well, I guess you could count it by the number of bubble wrap stomps, but I think that's about 10 years. I love coming down to First Night. It's because of the families, it's because of the kids, and the good feelings it brings. But that's not going to change just because we're doing it virtually. Because you bought the packages and your buttons, you're supporting the arts in St. Pete, and some of that money will help in 2022. So here's to better days and Happy New Year. And get ready for the bubble stomp.
I'm Patricia Knoll, founder of the Good With Me Foundation and festivals. During this amazing First Night St. Pete, we're going to show you how to paint your own personal gratitude rocks. So gather your supplies and be sure to make it fun. Gratitude is such a great way to kick off your 2021. Happy Good With Me New Year to all.
A love story that drives you crazy.
가슴이 뛰는데 다른 누구도 이렇게 못했는데 뭔 말이 필요해 잡아봐 만져봐 내 심장이 baby 다른 여자와는 달라 뻔한 사랑은 싫어 내가 더 많이 좋아해도 상관없어 너만 있으면 돼 다른 남자와는 달라 이제 그만 받아줘 You be my baby 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 너 다른 남자 말고 너 모든 게 빛이 찌들 새기고 나면 나보단 온몸이 질 듯해 네가 만지면 나보단 기껏해야 해줘 서로 원한 속도 일정한 규칙을 벗어나지 익숙한 사이를 떨리게 만들어 나보단 Baby I'm missing you Baby I'm missing you 이 순간도 난 널 기다려 Baby I'm missing you Baby I'm missing you 다시 한번 널 볼 수 있다면 I'm missing you oh 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 I'm missing you oh 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 I'm missing you oh 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 I'm missing you missing you Hey Dr. Baby 너도 좋아 너만 있다면 baby 저도 좋아 너랑 벽에 갇혀 난 부딪혀 상처 나도 벗어날 수 없는 울림 Love for hearts and crazy 다시 또 love for hearts and crazy Love for hearts and crazy Hey Dr. Baby 외쳐 baby
The mission of First Night St. Pete is to broaden and deepen the public's appreciation for the visual, performing, and literary arts through an innovative, diverse, and high-quality program on New Year's Eve. Your support tonight helps us ensure that there are many more First Nights to come.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maureen McDowell. I'm the founder and executive director of Keep St. Pete Lit. We are a literary arts organization based in St. Petersburg, Florida. We have poetry open mics, book clubs, kids writing classes, all kinds of events. And today we are going to be making a poetry bookmark with your New Year's resolution on it. So all you're going to need is some scissors and a glue stick, and then magazines that you have around the house. I use Travel and Leisure, and we have paper art. And all you're going to do is you're going to flip through the magazines, give yourself 15 minutes or so, and any words that you like, clip them out and set them to the side. And then you want to have
a piece of cardstock or heavier stock paper. I started out in a rectangle, and after I made my bookmark, I rounded it out. But you can do it in whatever shape you want, but it's something to fit inside of a book. And as you can see, I cut words out, and I even added a little image of what I wanted for myself in the new year. Isn't that fun? You can also do these as gifts. So if you wanted to do one for friends and family, you can cut it out, maybe words of affirmations or things you want to tell them or wishes you want for the new year for them. It's a really lovely gift. And the thing about bookmarks, you could have bookmarks for years and years and years. I'll flip through a book I'll reread a book, and I'll find a bookmark that I got like 10 years ago. Sometimes I use like envelopes or flowers, and it's really cool to find objects in books that you left there or someone else left there. So go ahead and get your magazines and your glue stick and your stickers. Stickers, I didn't mention stickers. Scissors, I meant scissors, but stickers are good too. And go ahead and make a poetry bookmark for yourself with your New Year's resolution about how you want your new year to be. And as you can see, mine is discover the unexpected, let the magic find you. Isn't that fun? So happy New Year. And thank you so much to First Night St. Pete for including us in this project. And if you want to know more about Keep St. Pete Lit, we're keepstpetelit.org. We got all kinds of events and stuff for kids and adults. So happy New Year.
Hi everybody, this is Jurassic Jeff at Mad Science, and we're here to do a fun short program for you guys on New Year's Eve here, and we are happy to be a part of the First Night program, so let's get started. Okay, we're going to have, Mad Science is always about fun science, and we're going to have some fun with science. Okay, so we're going to get started off with matter today, and what I have is we're going to talk about matter and energy and a quick example of the power of air pressure. I have a piece of matter with me today, my favorite scientist. We have him here as well. His name is Albert Einstein, and he's just an example of matter, okay? He's an example of the solid state of matter, this piece of paper. And we can change matter in two different ways. We can change matter in a physical way, okay, by just taking it and changing the shape of matter. He's still a piece of paper. We haven't changed him. In a chemical way at all. We haven't taken anything away or created anything new. We just changed the shape of him. Okay, we can do the same thing by ripping him in half. Again, a physical change in matter. He's still paper. We haven't taken anything away. We haven't created anything new. Okay, but if we change him in a different way, for example, we light him on fire. Okay, he's going to create some smoke and ash. Okay. Something new, that is a chemical change, okay? I have a different type of paper with me today. This paper is coated with a different type of a chemical. It's kind of like tissue paper, but it burns a little bit differently than normal paper like that. Let me turn off the lights for a second here. Okay. And what we're going to do is hold on one sec. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to burn this paper, again, coated with a little different type of chemical. And that paper flashes, okay? It burns about 200 times faster than normal paper. I suppose you want to see that again, right? Well, let me do this. Let me take another one. This is the type of paper that they use in the movies to make fireballs and flashes. And magicians use it as well. This was discovered by accident about 100 years ago by a scientist that accidentally poured some chemicals on his paper. He spilled those chemicals, and then he hung them up near his fireplace to dry, and he came back the next morning, and they were completely gone. And these chemicals make this paper burn 200 times faster than normal paper. So it's still a chemical change. It still creates smoke, and it still creates ash. It just does it so quickly that you don't have time to see it. So let me try it a different way. This time I'm going to wad it up into a little ball. Okay, I'm going to sit down here and I'm going to throw the fireball right at you guys. Okay, so I'm going to hold it in this hand and I'm going to light it this hand. And fireball. Okay, let me turn the lights back on. And we're going to talk quickly about air pressure, the power of air pressure, and we're going to use my good friend, Mr. Egbert here. Can you guys say Mr. Egbert? Happy New Year, Mr. Egbert. What we're going to do with Mr. Egbert, he's got a problem with all this COVID mess going on all year round. He's been eating too much. He hasn't been exercising enough. Both of us haven't been, and he can't fit into his bottle. I'm trying to figure out a way to get him into his bottle, and I just can't do it. Okay, he's too fat. No matter how I turn him and roll him and coax him and try to talk him in here, I'm too fat. So I need to figure out a way, maybe you guys can help me, of getting Egbert from here down to there. Okay, this is just an extraordinary problem, but an exciting problem too. Get it? Exciting, extraordinary. Anyway, so we need to find a way to get Egbert from here down to there. But I think we can use the power of air pressure. Okay, and if everybody watching can hold your hands above your head, you can feel, maybe you can feel that weight of air sitting on all of us. The air that's crushing us. Nah, I'm just kidding. But there's lots of air on us. There is an elephant of air sitting on top of me right now, about 5,000 to 6,000 pounds of air. And that is on every square inch of my body, and an inch is about this big, there is about 14.7 pounds of air. And if you look up straight through any ceiling, all the way to the top of our atmosphere, there is air, about 60 miles of air, of atmosphere sitting on every single one of us here at sea level. Okay, and in a column of 1 square inch, that's about that big. So 1 square inch of air going up 60 miles, sitting on top of my head is 14.7 pounds. But I just don't have 1 square inch. I have square inches all over my body. So if you add up those 15 and 15 and 15 and 15, you get about 5,000 to 6,000 pounds of air sitting on top of me right now. That's an elephant of air. But how come I can't feel it? How come any of us can't feel that enormous weight of air pressure on us? It's because there's air on the insides of our bodies. Okay? And whenever there's air pushing down on us, there's always as much air pushing out on us as well. Our bodies are really cool. All of our bodies are equalized with air, okay? So we don't feel that pressure because we're used to it, so used to it all the time. Egbert is used to it as well. But I think that if we can remove the air from underneath Egbert in his bottle here, all of a sudden, he's going to feel the enormous weight of air on top of him. Just like if we were to remove the air inside our bodies, all of a sudden I'd feel that 5,000 to 6,000 pounds, that elephant sitting on me, and it just would squash me, okay? But again, we have air. Egbert has, there's air in this bottle right here, but if we took the air out of the bottle and we put Egbert back on top of it, that air pressure, that difference in air pressure, more on top, very little on the bottom, would be enough to suck him down in there. I think it's going to work. But that leaves us another problem. How are we going to get all the air out from this bottle? I can't pour it out because there's air flowing up all the time, flowing around all the time. But if I build something in there, okay, that will use up the air, the oxygen in there, and then I put Egbert on top, he's going to feel that air pressure. And the thing I had in mind was fire. Okay, so we're going to light this piece of paper on fire. I'm going to stick the paper down in there. There's going to be a little fire going in there. And fire needs oxygen, which is a big part of air. So if by building a fire in there, it's going to reduce the air pressure in there. And we're going to take Egbert, we're going to put him on top, okay? And then he's going to feel that difference in air pressure. He's going to rattle and roll, and then he's going to hopefully drop down in there, if it works correctly, okay? But what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch out Egbert for his identical twin, Megbert there, okay? And that Megbert just is the same as Egbert, same size, just doesn't have his skin on. So again, he's too fat as well. No matter how I twist him and turn him, I can't get him down there as well, okay? All right, so we're ready to try our air pressure experiment. We are going to take the air out of that bottle by building a fire. So let me take this piece of paper, I'm going to rip it, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to put a little bit of alcohol on it. Alcohol will make the paper burn a little bit faster, which we want to do so we don't want the paper to really go out in there much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist it. I'm going to put a couple drops of alcohol on here. Okay, and I'm going to hold that right there so you guys can see it. And then I'm going to hold Egbert. I got my light. Oh, what? Hello. Ooh. There he goes. Did you guys see that? That was Egbert sliding down in there because of that difference in air pressure. But, you know, I watched him down in there, and he's safe in his home now. But how am I going to get him out of there? You know, he's in there, but now he's too fat to get out. Look. I just thought of something, though. If we used air pressure to get him in there, can we use air pressure to get him out? I think we can, okay? What I'm going to do is try to figure out a way to get more air up in there than what's out here, okay? I'm going to try to reverse the air pressure, okay? So if I get more air up there than what's out here, that just might be enough to push him right back out again, just kind of we got him in. But I don't want to light this whole room on fire, but I think I can do it just by blowing air up in there, okay? Just by, if I can blow enough air up there, he's going to get more air pressure up there. Just might be enough to suck him back down. You guys ready? Okay, here I go. 1, 2, 3. And oh boy, I almost got him. I'm going to pull him out the rest of the way. And there he comes. Let's give Egbert a round of applause. Thank you, Egbert. Okay, so that shows us the power of air pressure. How much air is sitting on us all the time and the pressure it exerts on us. And we can't feel that pressure until we've removed some of the air, either inside of us or in this case, underneath us in the form of Egbert. Okay, so air pressure to the rescue. That was pretty extraordinary, wasn't it? A great example of the power of air pressure. An excellent experiment, etc., etc. Anyways, let's keep working with fire. And I got one of my favorite energy experiments and one of my favorite energy scientists, Albert Einstein. Okay, he understood the amount of energy out there in the universe, and he understood how energy can convert to matter and back to energy. In fact, one of his most famous equations is E is equal to mc squared. And squared means that C is multiplied by itself. What he was trying to tell us was the amount of energy, E, in anything is equal to that something's mass, and that's weight here on Earth, the amount of stuff in any space, times C squared. So if I take something really small, okay, like this piece of paper that I ripped in half, okay, the amount of energy in this piece of paper is equal to its mass, which is only an ounce, half an ounce, third of an ounce, couple of grams, times C squared. And C is the fastest speed that we know in the universe, the speed of light. 72 million times 72 million. So the amount of energy in this small piece of matter is enormous. Mr. Einstein understood that. So we're going to do an experiment that proves that. We're going to take a small amount of matter, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour that matter in here, okay, and then I'm going to evaporate that matter, which is in a liquid form, just by shaking it up, okay? And this matter is called ethanol, and it's a little more unstable than liquid water because it's lighter than water, okay? And ethanol is a type of gas. It's also unstable because it can change its state more easily. It can go from a liquid to a gas. And the fact that it can do that, can change a state more, so we call it unstable. It's also very flammable, okay? And that means it can ignite very easily. So I'm gonna keep shaking this. And the more I shake it, the faster it evaporates, changes from a solid into a liquid into a gas, okay? So I think that's enough for now. So I'm going to take my matter and I'm going to pour it right back out in here. And all my matter is pretty much coming back out again. Okay, and then I'm going to put it back up right, put my lid on it so the gas doesn't get out. And I'm going to put my safety goggles on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to see how much matter, how much energy is in that matter by releasing it, okay, or changing its state. So I'm going to put on my safety goggles for this, and I'm going to turn off the lights, and then we're going to release the energy in that very, very tiny bit of matter that's left in there, okay? Here we go. Are you guys ready? Whoops. I'm going to use my lighter. And that was a release of energy. You feel this bottle? It feels very warm, okay? In science, we call that an exothermic reaction. It's a chemical change in matter, just like it did with the paper when we burned it, okay? It releases a lot of heat. We transformed matter, what little matter was in there, to energy. Mr. Einstein knew that. He knew that there's enormous amounts of energy in any bit of matter, even very tiny bits of matter. So that's all the science we have for you in this session. We hope you guys have a great 2021 and Happy New Year. We know 2020 was a tough year, but we're really looking forward to 2021. Happy New Year, everybody.
I'm Kimberly. I'm here tonight to walk you through the peace flags for 2021 First Night. We're so glad you could join us this evening. Bit of a bummer, we can't be down in South Straw, but we're keeping everybody safe and we're gonna stay at home and you get to enjoy us all from your couch. I'm gonna go over a few things. What you need, why you do it, and then what you can do with all of your peace flags afterwards. One, you're going to need some material. You're gonna need some material that are cut into squares of different colors, green, red, yellow, blue. Each of them has a different meaning. You're gonna need markers, lots of markers, because that's how you're gonna draw on your message of peace. And then you cannot wait for, yes, hold on, glitter. Parents, please do not do this in your house. You will have glitter all over your house. That is my message. Okay, next, what you have to do is get to a sense of peace. All of you kids out there, get ready. Start thinking about what you want to see for 2021 to happen in the world. Next, grab your material. Grab your pen, and let's get ready to create a peace flag. Everyone, this is my daughter Alyssa, and she's going to do a peace flag. Woo! Creating peace flags. It's getting a little chilly out here, isn't it, Alyssa?
I'm freezing.
Okay, so from our family to yours, we wish you a Happy New Year!
Thanks for being a part of this phenomenal community, celebrating the arts and welcoming in another year with First Night St. Pete. We appreciate the support from the City of St. Petersburg and all of our sponsors, partners, artists, and collaborators. On behalf of my family to yours, we wish you a very happy New Year.